No? Okay. So, okay. So today we're going to talk about social media marketing. We're going to talk about Gary Vee's jab, jab, hook strategy. And we also, the main focus is that we're going to go over his presentation on how to get like 30 pieces of content a day, and how his team takes his content and makes all of these little micro content. I have the whole strategy in a PowerPoint, but before we get to that, I want to go over some social media basics that I put together, because everybody on the call is at a different level. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen, and we will do that. Let's see. Okay, does everybody see the full screen? Because it may have just switched over. Lauren, unmute so that I can ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you see the full screen PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right then. So we'll get started. If you have questions, then put them in the chat and I will try and get to them. I can't make any promises on that. Okay. Oh, there's more people coming in. Okay. So social media marketing basics, jab, 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 right hook. Let's get into it. Okay, so here is a glossary of terms that I think you guys need to know. Content is anything you post, such as words, photos, videos, or audio. Platform, when we use that term, we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, whatever the social media website is. Community is all of your social media connections, people that know, like, and trust you. Impressions are views of your content, both voluntary and involuntary. If it comes up in somebody's feed, it's going to be counted as an impression. Okay. Engagement, those are the likes, shares, and comments that we're looking for. The thumbs up, the hearts, all that stuff. Hashtags are searchable words or phrases that describe the content. If you put hashtags, it makes it easier, so that if you put July 4th weekend as a hashtag and somebody searches July 4th weekend, it's going to come up. Organic reach is how many people see your content without any paid promotion. That is what we strive for, to get the most organic reach. Your brand, it's a big, scary word, but it's really just your reputation. You know, what are you known for? The feed are the posts that the platform wishes you to see. So that's kind of like the middle section that you scroll. That's your feed. Okay, these are phrases that Gary Vaynerchuk uses. I want you to be familiar with. Jab, 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 right hook, which is about what all this is about, is give, give, give. Then the hook, it's a boxing term. That's the knockout punch. That's when you ask. And it's okay to ask for business, but you can't ask all the time. Quantity leads to quality. This is a little bit counterintuitive, but when we talk about quality, we're talking about the posts that get the most engagement. We're not talking about the post where your hair looks nice and the lighting's good and the weather's nice and you got your fancy camera. That's not the quality we're talking about. The quality posts are the ones that get the most engagement. To figure that out, how do you post something that's going to go viral? Well, your chances are better if you have data and you know what your customers want. And the only way to get that is to post quantity. Contextual to the platform. People are in different mindsets on different platforms. You may actually have an account on LinkedIn, account on Facebook, an account on TikTok, but when you're looking at TikTok, you're more in a lighthearted, casual frame of mind. When you're on LinkedIn, it's more business oriented. To take your post and make it contextual to the platform is kind of the key element for success in getting engagement on those posts. Okay, document versus create. One of the concerns with people creating content is they run out of ideas, right? I already talked about those things. I can't think of anything else. Well, document. That means that you do like a little bit about what's going on your day-to-day. You document the things that are happening. People love behind the scenes. They love, they're voyeuristic. I mean, look how long that, Kardashian show's been on TV, like 15 years. People just like to look in and see what's going on back in the kitchen. Okay, know your own DNA, be authentic. Don't try and present an image. Always be yourself. If you're a casual dresser, then be casual. If you like to dress up, do that. Whatever it is, don't try and project some sort of image that you think your audience is going to want, because they don't. They just want you. Okay, don't listen to the cheers or the boos. We expose ourselves when we post on these platforms and everything's out in the public, and you're going to have your haters out there, and they're going to say mean things. Why somebody would take time out of their day to sit there and type something negative to you is beyond me. That person must be really just a negative person. Maybe they're hurting inside. But here's the thing. You can't let it bother you. So what you do is you just tone all of it down. The people that put how awesome and terrific and everything that you are, that's great. But we're not going to get too excited about that. And then the people that criticize in a mean way, we're not going to let that bother us either. So give the community what they want. If you post pictures of your kids and you get a ton of engagement, that's what people want to see. If you try and use social media to send a message that you want to send, then people are going to tune you out. So through the quantity leads to quality theory, we figure out what the community wants. Don't put the past on a pedestal. And what I mean is, when it comes to marketing, things that worked 5 years ago may not work today. And right now, Instagram's hot, and in 5 years, it may not even be important. So you have to be open to what's going on right now. Have your finger kind of on the pulse of what your community wants and where they are. And if it worked in the past, that's great. But people, romanticize about what worked back 10 years ago, and that may not work anymore. You never stop testing content. So really, every time you post something, it's a little bit of a test to see how it's going to work. We analyze the data, we learn, and we get smarter. Content. Anything that, we just did that. We're going to the next one. Okay. So 99% of agents and loan officers do social media wrong. And this is why. They're selfish, they're spammy, they're sneaky, they don't care about their community, and they treat social media as an advertising platform. And you see in the little picture to the right, the reason most people struggle with building a community is almost everybody who says they're building a community is actually trying to sell to their customers. So nobody likes that. Nobody wants to just see an ongoing advertisement for mortgages or houses. Now, we're in business, so it's okay once in a while, but you don't want to be that person that is always trying to sell it to the community. It's selfish. So you see real estate agents, and their only posts are their listings. Well, they're not giving their community anything that they want. They're just trying to sell them. And also, it can be spammy just to constantly post. Once a week, we get something from our marketing department, and we post, hey, we now do VA loans, we now do FHA, we raise the loan limits, we raise the debt ratio. Okay, that's just 99% of the population doesn't care about that. It's spammy. And they only throw hooks, so they become assholes, as we call it. They run the risk of turning off their connections, or possibly, if it's too spammy, it'll get shadow banned, and then you'll post something and it'll get zero engagement, and you'll wonder what the heck went wrong. Well, that's because Facebook got tired of you. Okay, so we talk about building the community, and that is the most important part. I mean, in the back of your mind, think, okay, well, 1% are going to do business with me. So if you have 160 in your community, that's not that many sales or loans or homes or whatever. So you need to build it up. 5,000 minimum, and it needs to grow. Really, the bigger, the better. Community should be people that know who you are, not just people that you've connected to that have no idea or no connection. They need to know, like, and trust you. Think about a community for life. Let me see if I can get, so I can kind of see y'all. So does everybody, do you see the little button where you raise your hand? So how many people here are 30 and under? I'm just curious. Can you hit the little like hand thing? Okay. So there's a few. Okay. 40 and under. Okay, now we got a bunch. So here's the thing. So you're going to be working another 30 or 40 years. What are the chances that you're going to be selling mortgage loans 20, 30 years from now? Who knows? We may not even have mortgages in the same way that we know. You'll probably sell flying cars or maybe trips to the moon by then. I mean, you never know. So you have to think about building a community for your entire life, whatever you do. People to engage with, people to support you, and you to support them. So now with that mindset, invite everyone you know, your friends, your families, your clients, customers, everybody you know that knows you and likes you and trusts you. You should try and build a community and add them to your various social media platforms. If they're already connected to you on Facebook and you have an Instagram account, ask them, say, hey, I just started a new Instagram account, and would you mind connecting there? And 90% of the people will. Join Facebook groups. I met a lot of you through the MLO Net group, and it's really terrific because they're like-minded people. The engagement is off the chart. I mean, if you're in a group of, motorcycle riders and you want to talk about a new motorcycle that Harley's coming out with, you're going to get incredible engagement, debates, and everything. And if you just post that in your regular feed, you're not going to get as much debate. Okay, respond to all the comments that you receive. I see this as an issue all the time. If somebody takes their time out to make a comment about your post, then you should respond to them and at least say thank you for the comment. But, having some kind of real engagement, some real conversation is even better. Make thoughtful comments to other people's posts every day. That's another way that drives engagement. People see that you're following them and you're liking their comments and you're making meaning not just like great job or looks like fun. I do that too sometimes when I'm in a hurry, but if you can say something in just one sentence, maybe more than 4 or 5 words, people, it really sticks with them, and then they're more apt to pay attention to your posts. Okay, what should you post? You should post what's going on with you, personal and business. We talked about, document versus create. Show good and bad. People can relate to you. Be authentic. Not everything, is that picture of you with your new car and at the concert, at the fancy restaurant. Don't just post. It looks like you're flexing, like you're showing off, and then people get turned off by that. They want to see you both the good and bad, and they like you both good and bad. So, vulnerability is the key. If you can be a little bit vulnerable, and I'm not talking about, you don't have to put your deepest, darkest secrets online, but the silly stuff, you're late to a meeting and you spill coffee on you. Well, that's going to get all kind of you take a picture of your shirt with the coffee and you tell a little story, and then everybody's going to have one of those stories about how they were going to an appointment and they spilled something, or something happened and it was embarrassing. So that happens to everybody. It makes you more likable. So the idea is to either inform or entertain. So you can give useful information, like about things going on in around town. You could say, hey, I just got some tires and they're running a big sale down at the tire store. People may appreciate that. Or you can be a little bit, you can be entertaining, something like, look at this new puppy I got my daughter. The puppy sleeps on its head. I don't know, cute pictures. That's entertaining. People love that stuff. Try and tell a story. Even on your hooks, kind of especially on your hooks, tell a story. Don't just say congratulations to the Joneses who just bought a house in Alpharetta. You want to say a little bit like, the borrower works for Lockheed Martin, and they were relocating with their 2 kids, and they were coming from Seattle, Washington, and they love the weather here in Atlanta, and they're into soccer. And people like those details. If you tell a story, then it makes it more engaging. It makes everything become real. Video is the most powerful by far. Some people hate video. When I look across my screen here, I see that about 60% of the people do not have their cameras on, which is fine. Maybe they're doing some other things while they're listening. That's okay. But some of them don't have their cameras on because they're embarrassed. They don't like the way they look on camera or whatnot. And that's just BS. People like you for the way you look. I hate to say, just get over it, but just get over it. But there again, if you really hate it, you're not going to do it. So if you're good with the written word, you can write a good story. If you'd rather just show photos and make comments about those photos, that's fine. If you want to do interviews and do audio, or just record something with the memo button on your phone and post that, you could just have like a picture of anything, a still shot, and then have the audio play in the background. You can also do shares and comments. There's other ways that you can add content if you hate video, but if you don't hate it, I would try and learn to like it because it's going to get the most engagement. Stay native to the platform. So this is a little bit different than being contextual to the platform. Native means that you don't put any links that draw people away because you'll get shadow banned. So if you post to, if you did a video and you put it into your YouTube account, and then you said on Facebook, hey, you should watch this new video, and you put a link to your YouTube account, they're not going to like that. They don't want you pulling their customers off their website. So that's going to get no traffic. They may even shadow ban it. There's a little trick where you can put it in the first comment This works on LinkedIn. But basically, just think about if you have a video and you want to use it in multiple places, you need to actually take a minute and upload that to Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn so that it is held native to their platform. You're going to get more engagement. And then we talked about being contextual to the platform. LinkedIn's more business. You know, I look at Facebook as kind of all purpose at this point. You know, so Instagram usually has shorter content, and TikTok is a little bit more jovial. So if you have the same message, you can put it on all of them, but you want the wording and the framing or the editing to be contextual to that platform. So where should you post? So this is, I'm not going to go over this, but this is a chart that just shows you, believe it or not, as I'm sure you know, Facebook has the most users, 2.7 billion. It's like half the planet is on Facebook. But people are surprised that the second one is YouTube, which is not far behind with 2 billion users. LinkedIn has a much smaller following, about 1/10, but LinkedIn is very powerful in the business world. It is not just used for recruiting and you know, looking for employment. It is used for content and has a lot of engagement right now. Okay, so what's your mindset for success with social media? Think long-term. Your community is your life. So it is not the center of your goals, should not be to sell your community mortgages. Okay, think long-term. Okay, understand that you're not in the mortgage or real estate business, you're in the marketing business. Anybody can learn to take a loan app. Okay, your processor could probably does better when you're out of town. Mine does. She'd rather me just go out of town and leave her alone. Okay, so the paperwork and everything, somebody else can do it. Now, you may be in the beginning of your career and you need to be a one-man shop and you need to do it, and that's okay. That's okay, but understand that it's the marketing and the marketing of yourself that cannot be delegated. You have to do that part. Okay, you need to post every day, get in a habit. Doesn't have to be the same time every day, but if you're a person that likes regiment and discipline, you know, block it out on your calendar. Use real life stories with details. You'll get much more engagement. They're just much more interesting. The documenting of your life cannot be outsourced. I know a lot of you are thinking, hey, I'm going to have my 23-year-old niece do this because she really gets it. She knows all this about social media. I'll just pay her 15 bucks an hour. Okay, she cannot do it. You have to do the documenting of your own life. Now, can you have people help you with editing or posting or you know, the mechanics? Absolutely. But when it comes to the actual content, you got to do it. I'm sorry to tell you. Do not use services that post. I know that, you know, and companies will put out something and it will be like, you know, time to change, time to clean your gutters, you know, and then you'll think, well, that's a useful post. And then what I'll do is I'll take the title and I'll put it in the search bar, and then 140 of them come up. So because everybody in your company just posted that at noon today. What happens? You just get shadow banned. You know, your Facebook is like, what, this is duplicate posts, so we'll just ban them all. You'll get no engagement, and then you'll say, this social media doesn't work for me. I don't know why. Okay, start with two. It can be overwhelming. Start with 2 platforms and then be open to change. And, you know, some people say, hey, I've been posting on Instagram for the last year and I get nothing. That's okay. You know, there's 7 other platforms. So you tried it, didn't work. Let's try something else. Don't get too romantic with any of the platforms. So we're going to go into Gary's content model presentation, and I wanted to prep you a little bit about it. But up to this point, are there any questions? Anybody? What? Somebody's got a question. Okay, well, I don't know how I can see the questions because I've got my split screen going. So if you want to, you can unmute and jump in with a question. Okay. Whoops, I am not a technology expert. Let me get this back. Uh-huh. Okay. Can you, Lauren, nod your head. Can you see it? Okay. Okay. So Gary's content model presentation. The purpose is to learn ideas on making more content. You will not be able to replicate his system fully. He has a team. When he did this is from 4 years ago. He had a team of 17. I think now Team Gary is about 50 people. So the idea is don't be overwhelmed. We're going to get some ideas and we're going to scale it down on something that we can all use. This was made in 2018. So some of the platform details have changed. There are strategies that everybody can use on a smaller scale. Most of these tactics, if you're wondering, like, how do I do that? There is a YouTube video for friggin' everything in the world, especially when it comes to social media. And a lot of this stuff you can simply find on Google. He used a lot of curse words. I apologize for that in advance. I hope that we're all over 18, right? So, okay. Let me switch over. Lauren, can you see the Gary Vee content model? You can. All right. By the way, can I see by show of hands, how many people watched the video that I said you needed to watch? Okay, good. So yeah, so the large majority, good. And I'm just going to assume that you liked it or you wouldn't be here. So I wanted, some people are not familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, so I wanted you to watch the video just to kind of get an idea of what he's about and why this is important. Okay. The content pyramid. So the model is structured like a reverse pyramid. He uses one piece of pillar content, like a long form piece of content, like an interview or a keynote speech. Now, you're thinking to yourself, I don't have that. Okay, well, so I was just a guest on a podcast and I asked them for a copy. So that's what I'm going to use as my pillar content. If you don't have one, then call your best real estate agent and interview them. Tell them that you're going to promote their business on social media, which is absolutely true. And I'm sure that they will block out an hour, make a big video, and then we can edit it and so forth later for a bunch of pieces of content. If you don't have an agent to interview, find a customer. If you don't have that, can't think of any ideas, then just find your best friend who is shopping for a home and have that discussion about shopping for a home. You can find something that's interesting. Okay. So at the top, one piece of long form content. Think of the pillar content as one long form video or audio show from which all the content is going to be derived. You're going to create short form pieces of content, articles, memes, images, quotes, stories, mashups, remixes, rants. Okay. And then we're going to distribute that across your social media platform. You start out with at least 2 platforms, but maybe you'll get into more as you get better. Okay, so here's the progression. So we document, we create, we distribute, we listen, then we create again, and then we distribute again. And we'll break that down. So remember that the pillar content is a long form video or audio show from which all the other content is derived. So he has several shows. He's got Daily V, he's got Tea with Gary, he's got keynote addresses and fireside chats. Of course, we don't have all of that, but you know, you can mimic a podcast or an interview like I was discussing to get that pillar content. Create the micro content. Micro content is effectively short form pieces of content made into memes, quotes, or stories. Once you have pillar content, you can repurpose the best moments into mini pieces of micro content. This slide tells you basically the format. Oops. I don't know why that thing just popped up. So this tells you the format that Facebook likes 1080 by 1080. Of course, they own Instagram now, so it's the same. And then LinkedIn, basically, they're all going to be what you would call vertical on your phone. LinkedIn is horizontal. That's kind of the outlier. Okay. So micro content. His team looks for what they think will resonate with the audience. So he takes little clips of 1.5 minutes, 3 minutes or whatnot, and he cuts those out and he puts these comments above it. The comments are what helps make it contextual to the platform. As far as these titles and things, you can use an app called Canva, which is a free app to put these titles on the thumbnails. Distribute. Once you have the pillar content and the micro content, distribute them across the social media platforms. So he's saying now Instagram just launched IGTV, but of course now it's been around for 4 years, and it is a great place to post content. So the first round of micro content is ultimately used to drive viewership to the pillar content. So it's like, hey, if you like this, go back and listen to the whole interview. And a couple new people just jump in. So, okay, so you see here, he's got his list. He put, I don't know if these are just examples, but he uses post everything at the same time to all the different platforms. And you can use an application like Hootsuite, which is another one that you can set up your content and then you can deliver it in the middle of the day. I think there's all kind of controversy about what's the best time. I think in the middle of the day is actually the best. People tend to use social media first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, and then right after work. Okay, the next is to listen to the feedback that you get. After you've distributed the pillar content and the micro content, listen to your audience to find out what pieces of content resonated with them. So in this little example, there were 2 comments that people made that he thought were very powerful. As a way to engage with the community more, my team and I have been telling our audience to comment with the timestamp. So that's good. So if they put the timestamp, then you can go and look and see exactly what they're referring to. That's a good idea. So you apply the insights from this audience by making more micro content of the sections that stood out to the audience. So now you're really targeting what they want. So that here's micro 1. Once you have the community-driven, micro content, distribute them across all the social media platforms. Pillar content, micro content, You can also turn it into articles. LinkedIn has a great article section. And then you do the community-driven micro content. Now he's going to show you a real life example so you can see how this all comes together. So Gary gave a keynote address for Dutch Brothers. We don't have those on the East Coast. It's on the West Coast, but it's a coffee house. I guess it's like Starbucks. I'm not really sure. When somebody says coffee place, I think of Starbucks. So he gave the keynote. It's in Portland, Oregon, to Dutch Brothers. And he had his video guy. He has a videographer named D-Rock, who's kind of semi-famous at this point. He recorded the whole thing. It's 2 hours and 24 minutes. In the video, before showing the keynote itself, I recorded a short introduction where I gave context to the talk so that my audience would understand it better. So that's another way that you make it contextual to the platform, is you say, okay, here's a video of an interview that I did with a real estate agent that addresses a lot of the concerns that home buyers have about rising home prices. Then you give the talk, or you show the clip. Okay. He put it on his vlog called Daily V. Okay, then what he did is he also has a podcast, and he peeled away. There's a software, free software that'll do this, that you can separate just the audio, and he put that in his podcast. There is a software called Anchor. Actually, I think it's more of a website than software, but it's called Anchor, and it allows you to post podcasts for free. He did his first round of stories, just like we were talking about, first round of micro content, just like we were showing before. The pillar content he put on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram. The podcast is also distributed over 10 audio-centric platforms. Most all of them are free. And the podcast actually became one of his most downloaded episodes of all time. Humble brag.
This guy doesn't.
So, okay, now the micro content. So these are the platforms that, if you don't know the little symbols, it's YouTube, Facebook, what is that? Snapchat. I is the podcast, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Okay, so the first round of micro content and stories are then posted to all of those different platforms. Then the important part, he gets the community insights, looks at what is resonating with his community. People make comments. He pulled out these two key comments. One of them says, "My body just froze up and tears started falling. Respect. My biggest fear instilled by my parents is being unemployed and not being able to pay my bills and support myself." Okay, well, I guess that's a fear for all of us, but those are two heartfelt comments. So he took that micro content that guy did, and he took the comment that the guy did and made a micro post. And here it is right here. Here's the guy talking. Is a dirty word, but basically it says that making mistakes is okay. So he took this guy's comment, and then he made more content in the form of a micro post to Facebook. So he took 4 of these and made little micro contents to Facebook. After analyzing comments across the social channels, my team and I took the best moments that the community shared with us and made 2 more clips to first share on Facebook, which has a tendency to over-index. He's very popular on Facebook. And the clips became the new original content as they're edited and presented in a new way with custom titles. So it looks fresh because he's got these new little titles. And here's the result. So these are the views he got. 100,000, 600,000, 4 million views. And I guess the curse word drew people in, got 15 million views. Basically, same thing on Instagram. Facebook clips are then, so back then, Instagram only allows 60 seconds. So he edited it down, made a little Instagram post, took thumbnails and clips from the original. Boom, 700,000, 1.4, 1.7 million views. Next, this is a neat little trick. Just took pictures and just took quotes. So one thing that maybe resonated with people, and he made a picture with just the quote, and then he posted that on Instagram and got more views. The new content is then repurposed in a format native to Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I use Twitter basically to look at other people's posts. I don't post on Twitter. It's up to you. But it is certainly a very fast way to disseminate information. People that use Twitter a lot look at that thing like 10 times a day. Instagram stories. These are shorter, like 15-second clips. Puts new little titles and things on it to make it fresh. P.S. I believe Instagram stories are one of the most underpriced assets in a brand's current competition for attention. That was 4 years ago. I think that's true today. Snapchat, I don't use, but he did the same thing on Snapchat. Whoops. Then they made some GIFs where he took his picture of him being animated in his talk, and he posts these little GIFs. Sometimes they're more fun than actually informative, just to get more mileage out of the whole thing. These GIFs are down below, and then people often make comments and they use his GIFs. Written word. So like I said, LinkedIn has a great place for articles. So you can actually type a portion of your talk. And the great thing is you can revise it. So if you were given the talk and you forgot to mention something, well, you just put it in the article. You choose a little caption here and a picture. And not only on LinkedIn, but Facebook has articles. Quora has articles, if you ever heard of that. So it's just getting more mileage. Like I just said, he often adds 1 to 3 major points to expand or articulate something new. This makes the articles feel like new content and allows me to go deeper and rehash the ideas from an audience that adds more value. So here are the results. So one keynote became over 30 pieces of content, and he got over 35 million views. So this is an idea so that you can have more and more posts and more content. Across more than 20 different social platforms. So of course he's preaching content. Oh wait, more content. Today, which was back then, he actually then did a mashup where he takes little snippets of the whole talk, mashed it up. So it's a 7-minute kind of cliff notes of the whole thing to add another piece of content. So that's basically his content model. And I hope that that'll help you get more and more of your own content out into the market, and also use some of the tactics that we talked about before. Does anybody have any questions? And then I've got a little closing short video and we're done. I guess just jump in because I can't see all of you on my screen.
I have a question. Is it possible to get a copy of these slides?
I can. Which ones did you like?
All of them. My hand does not move fast enough, and so I'm trying to take very detailed notes. I'm very OCD-ish, and so being able to have a visual representation of what I wrote down is going to be awesome for me.
I'd be happy to, Tracy.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Hold on 1 minute. We go.
You want to do something that will bring you an incredible amount of value?
Adam, can you hear that and see it? Yes. All right. Technology is wonderful when it works. Here we go.
You want to do something that will bring you an incredible amount of value, but also bring someone else an incredible amount of value? Go donate your time to a retirement home for 1 week. You will learn a lesson real fast. That 99% of the stuff that all of you are right now thinking about means jack. This is a game of perspective. We have to change the definition of success. We have to. We cannot put expensive watches and cars and bank accounts on a pedestal. We must get away from that. But that doesn't mean we demonize it either. When your entire life is only predicated on the health and well-being of a small group of people you love more than breathing, nothing scares you. The only way to be happy is to have a quiet mind. My happiness is grounded in humility. If you don't think you're important, it's almost like your results don't matter. We have to become more optimistic and positive. You know why? You're deciding what life actually is. If you're like, well, Gary, fuck you, I grew up in a family that was very pessimistic and this is what it is. Well, then what do you want? Then go to therapy. Like, do something. Fight for it. Fight to be happy. And let me tell you about complaining. The only people that are listening to your complaining are people that extremely love you but are enablers, or your other loser friends and you're just complaining to each other. This is where, again, humility comes in. We lack gratitude. You understand that, right? There are almost 2 billion people on Earth that don't have access to clean water. Think about what I just said. There are over 1 billion people on Earth that don't have access to clean water, and you're complaining that your Instagram's not growing? Adversity is the foundation of success. This macro prosperity is the foundation of anxiety. So many people would aspire to make so much less money if they didn't care about what other people think and would be dramatically happier. Dramatically happier. I think the key to happiness is being content while being ambitious. And I think being content comes from gratitude. If you are a good person and you're trying, truly trying, and not trying to hurt anybody, you're fucking phenomenal.
Okay, guys. Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you very much. I enjoyed having you all here. If you ever need anything, reach out to me and I will send out a copy of the presentation so you can refer to it later. And I will see you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.